Hi, this is John Ondo for Marketing Media and Cupcakes. And before we get into today's episode, I just want to say thank you so much for listening. We're back after being gone for over 4.5 years. And I hope you get a chance to listen to episode 77, where we explain why we were gone for so long and that we're back for at least 3 more episodes. Angel and I are big supporters of entrepreneurship, and we love small businesses and faith-based businesses. And we just want to encourage you through our podcast each week. What's going to determine if we continue with more episodes will be the response. Subscribe to us on your platform. Send us an email at john@ondomedia.com. That would help us know you're listening and you want more episodes. So thank you so much, and let's get into today's episode.
I'll answer your questions, but I'm not.
Well, you can ask me questions too if you like.
I don't know what to ask.
Why not? You don't know. Well, you have questions you think of all the time.
No, I do not.
You ask me all the time, what did you spend this money on?
Well, yes, that's what that's what the world wants to hear.
This is the small business podcast that is sweeter than all the rest. Marketing, media, and cupcakes.
This is episode 2 of Marketing, Media, and Cupcakes. I'm John with my beautiful wife, Angel, and we're here as both small business owners, and Angel actually has a full-time gig as she does customer service training. What does that mean exactly? I've been married to you for 4 years. I don't know what that means. What does that mean exactly?
What does what mean exactly?
That you're a customer service training person. What does that mean?
I'm not a training person, so my official title, which is terrible, because I made it up, I am the difference between you being successful at your job and not. So I explain to you how the business runs, what exactly that you will do, the computer systems you will use, how to use those computer systems.
And these are for call center people.
For call centers, correct. Right. So I've always said people always have a different idea about those in customer service. They think people in customer service
are idiots.
Are stupid.
Uh-huh. Or they're not in our country.
Correct.
Which is the United States, in case anybody's wondering.
Exactly. So, unfortunately, what I say is if customer service was easy, then everybody would do it. And I dare say that the majority of you listening to this, if you've ever worked in customer service or even in a retail setting, it's not easy. It doesn't matter if I get to sit in a chair and talk on the phone. It's not simple because you're dealing with people like you and me that want what they want and expect a certain level of service. And
can you tell the story about the lady that called wanting, what was it, a 20-year-old catheter or something like that? That's a funny. See, I just ruined it by saying it, but
it wasn't a catheter, so that you're no ruinage there. But we have, where I work, we had products. We had a part of the company that was sold off many years ago. I think it was somewhere around 99. And we had a customer literally call in looking for a replacement for her. I'm going to say it. It was her douchebag. So she is still using her disgusting 30-plus-year-old douchebag, and apparently we were silly enough to put in their lifetime guarantee so that on the douchebag, so if she wanted a new douchebag, she needed to just give us a jingle and we would replace the bag, the tubing, all the little accoutrements that came with it.
And so the douchebag is no longer manufactured by your company because it's been sold off.
Correct.
So this is a great example, the douchebag scenario that I'm sure we all discuss everywhere.
Yes.
In the douchebag scenario, how did you handle that?
So we basically explained that we no longer sold said douchebag, but we gave them the name of the company that did and the phone number. So we weren't going to leave them hanging without their whatever, but we were able to give them the name of the company and explain to them where they could go and acquire said replacement pieces and parts.
Oh, there you go. Well,
yes.
And again, I mean, and what's funny, to me, customer service, and when I met Angel, she told me she did customer service, and she just had, as you can tell, she's got that customer service voice. She makes fun of me with my little radio voice every now and then I get into, but she has also, if you were at our house, which I don't know why you would be, but when the phone rings and it's always a spam call, but she'll always pick up the phone and it will just do it. Pick up the phone and,
"This is Angel. How can I help you?"
Right there. I mean, and that's what sold me when I met her on the phone. I think I called her the first time and I heard her say that because she didn't know it was me calling. And I heard that and I'm like, oh. because I just appreciate a female with a great voice. So she's been doing this customer service stuff, which I think is great because customer service is horrible nowadays. It's across, and I know we're getting older and we say, oh, the kids are no good at it, but let's talk about good places so we won't get in trouble. But like, for example, we'll be careful how we say this, but we dealt with our kitchen remodel. We dealt with KitchenAid. And I remember you said they were very good on customer service when we had some issues. Their customer service department did all the right things as far as like, tell me what you were like,
Exactly.
What things you were looking for.
Well, again, I mean, they were clear. They were at times they were empathetic.
Yep.
They took action. They apologized, and they said we will fix this. To their discredit is that they lacked follow through.
Yeah.
They lacked follow up. When I have to call and ask, repeatedly for things. So I think that's, again, not that any outside of being customer service or not, when you tell someone you're going to do something, you should do it.
Yeah.
If you tell someone you're going to call them back on Friday with an answer, you call them back on Friday. Even if you don't have an answer, you call them back. So it's one of those things that I demand superior customer service no matter who I call, because it's demanded of me every time I answer the phone. So
let me ask about the elephant in the room. We all know that a great deal of customer service is outsourced generically to India. Is the problem with customer service outsourced? And I know for a while you had to deal with customer service in India. Is it actually just a cultural problem, or is it a training problem? Because I'm sure people would just not do customer service in India if they were just that bad. I think, is it because some places just don't do the proper training with the overseas folks?
I think you have to look at your call center and what your business is, because I think some of them are able to effectively do what they need to do regardless of where the people sit. Mm-hmm. But when you have a certain type of business, like my particular one that I work in, there has to be a level of understanding. There has to be a level of
connection with what's going on.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. The connection of understanding. Because again, the cultural thing to me was the number one problem. Mm-hmm. They didn't understand the importance of certain things. This particular thing is extremely important. It has to be. It's a life-saving type of thing. There has to be a sense of urgency and a sense of, and they had none of that.
Yeah.
So
maybe for some other business that's not time critical, maybe it would work. So there's obviously scenarios. I know, and again, if I'll flip this over to the United States. I was working with a nonprofit. I was doing their media and their production, but we were working with a consultant figuring out why books and so forth that was part of this nonprofit, we weren't getting good results. And so the guys who ran it here where I worked in the office would do spot check calls, but they didn't do the correct kind of calls. So one time we were there in the office, we're kind of doing a secret shopper thing. We call up and the girl answering the phone, you could tell she was young. She was going off a script. She didn't know the books. It was like, and so our guy was saying, what other books do you have? Well, I have this book. Would you tell me about it? And hold on. This is a book about and you could tell she's just reading it, and it was very like, you could just tell this is a person who's just reading scripts and here taking orders. And then we called a competitor, and it's not really a competitor, but another nonprofit's call center, and it was like, hey, how can I help you? And yeah, this is a great product. You're going to love this. And you could tell they knew what they were doing. And both call centers were completely on the other side of the country, but it's a training issue. It's a thing. And so that's part of what you do, because your call center is not where you're at, but they receive and they train. And
yeah, I mean, we spend a lot of time, we try to make it a transparent experience that no matter who you're talking to, the person on the phone should be representing our company. And when you don't represent the company in a very positive light, it reflects badly on everyone.
I think it's good to hear this part, because you might say, well, what does this have to do with marketing and media and cupcakes? Well, this is Angel's background as her professional job, which you've been doing for 25 plus years now, and you're very good at it, and you hold the keys to this big company because you just know everything to train people. And, even though my background is television, there is in television, there is it's just like everything else. You want to give people a positive experience. And, we were just discussing actually with our stepson and his girlfriend, about having a good experience with, some things they're doing with some part-time work. And, it's difficult because it's not, everybody wants a good experience when they go shopping. But I question if everybody wants to give a good experience when they're shopping, because I just see that happening. And I was brought up with that. I remember, answering the phone at the first TV station I worked at, because I had been beaten as a small child. When I started working as a teenager, somebody had shown a clip of some IBM motivational thing, and it was like, no phone at IBM rings more than 3 times. If you're the CEO and it rings and you're there, you pick it up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's not your job or not. So I'm still like that today. I was beaten into my head, you pick up the phone. So when my phone rings at Ondo Media, and I'm always picking up, hello, Ondo Media, this is John, right away. And it's hard because my cell phone will ring and I pick it up, and there's times I probably shouldn't because it's, late at night or something else is going on. And, but that's customer service. And the one thing I've been very happy about, even though it hasn't necessarily translate into gigs for me, but I'll get, I'm right there at my desk many days. And if I'm not at my desk, if I'm on a shoot, I've got my phone, my voicemails forward to me from my main line. So if you call my company or email me, I know, because I get a tap on the wrist on the iWatch or something, and I try to instantly say, hey, thanks a lot, I'm on something, I'll call you later on, or I call them right back. And I'm always amazed that almost 90% of the time people say, oh my gosh, that's so great that you responded so quickly. And I'm like, why couldn't you? Because it is a, like Uber, it's like, if you don't grab the gig, it's gone. And I have 2 clients that are very large clients for us that were literally, I can't remember, one was a call or an email, and I literally called them back within moments, and they were like, and it set the tone that I will be responsive. And that is something that's important to me, even though you can look at Emmys and what I do from a production standpoint, that I think my clients will say, but we like the fact that, and they probably do it to the point where I should tell them to stop. But if we need to get a hold of John on the weekend because something has gone wrong and we need something fixed, we can do it. He's accessible and he doesn't yell at us. I probably should yell at them a little bit, but
you should yell at them a little bit. But it's okay.
But I guess I want my company to be like that. I want to be the company where people say, he calls me right away. He called me back right away. He responded. And, it doesn't have to be, I'll fix it, or here's my detailed strategy of how to fix your problem. It might just be, I'm in the middle of I'm in the middle of a film on location for a couple of days, but can I contact you on Wednesday? And typically that's all they need. It's just like, he's got it, we're good to go. Because we all know there's nothing more frustrating than sending an email to somebody, not getting a response back, and then you're hanging for 2 or 3 days and so forth. So I get, when we talk about customer service, I just think that's something you'll hear a lot on the podcast from me is what I call perceived value. I can't put enough on the fact that if you're starting your business and you don't understand customer service, or that you need to respond to emails, and I know that sounds crazy, but you and I have both dealt with, your respective cupcake clients, but I don't know, you deal with subcontractors and stuff with your full-time job where I can't get a hold of somebody here. I know they won't respond for 3 days. That's insane, and you can't do that. So when you do a customer service training with somebody new, you're trying to orient them to the company and all that. What is like the one thing the crown jewel that if I don't give them this isn't going to work, or they're going to walk out unprepared?
Well, my biggest thing for everyone, based on what we do, is I tell them, be a hero. We have very few opportunities in life to be a hero. And with the products that we sell at my company, and and the very simple and the little cost that goes into it, you can literally be a hero. Don't argue with somebody over one extra case versus, this. I'm a bit, I'm not saying rules be damned, but to some extent, rules be damned if it's to the benefit of a customer.
Customer's always right. That's what they always said.
Yeah, I've never used those words to everybody, because unfortunately our customers are fibbers. We all know we're fibbers.
Right.
You said you called twice, but you tell them you called 10 times. We always exaggerate a little bit more because, again, we believe the old adage of if we're a little bit louder, that squeaky wheel is going to get the oil.
Greased. Yep.
And it's not necessarily the case, but I always, I listen. I'm big about listening to the person, and it's not just what they're saying, but how they're saying it. And like, John mentioned about my voice, I was, again, very, very attracted to the sound of his voice. And I listen to other people's voices. And when we're having a conversation, and especially in a customer service environment, I try to tell people, listen to what they're saying, but listen to how they're saying it. Are they speaking fast? Are they unsure of themselves? Are they angry? Are they frustrated? You can hear that. You don't have to see a person at times to know how they're feeling. And depending on where they're at, then you'll be able to act accordingly. And if they're, if they're in a hurry, if they're rushed, if they have a thing, sometimes you have to attempt to slow them down to make sure that you're getting them what they need.
Boy, yeah.
And sometimes you have to. So my thing is always, what is it you can do at that moment when you can tell that there's a need to be that hero? Because my company makes some great products, and they make life-saving products. And I'm not pushing staples and pencils, which is nothing wrong with that. And I'm not selling beer and cigarettes, which, again, on a Friday night, who wouldn't want it? But it's about making sure that you are, again, being a hero.
I like that. I love that, being a hero. And I know what I say to my clients often is, when I get people, and I love these kind of clients, I would rather, quite honestly, deal with somebody who's never dealt with television or media before. I love it when somebody says to me, we've never produced a video, or we've never produced a video for our company. Oh man, that gets me excited, because first of all, it means I'm not going to have to untrain somebody who says, we worked on this big project. Well, then I'm already up against the fact that you may have had a good experience, or you may have had an idiot that I've got to untrain you from what they told you. But I always love in video, if you've not dealt with media, it costs money. I mean, the easiest example I always say, if you want to get a good wedding photographer, you're going to pay $2,000 for just still photography for a night in Photoshop, and believe me, again, it's well worth it. So for a commercial, typically anywhere from a minute and a half to 3 minutes, could be anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 for me. And a lot of people sit there and say, oh my God, John, that's really cheap. And some of you will say, oh my God, it's that much. But that's just, depending on where you're at and what you know. But I always tell my folks, we create this video, and I'm going to make you look good for your boss. And hopefully your boss, when you show them this video, they're going to go, oh my gosh, where did you get this guy? And there's these customer service things that I try to do to help them, in the fact that I know that I've had people call me up and they're just trying to get information. And probably 80% isn't going to go somewhere. They just wanted to know how much, and I start throwing out $2,500, $5,000, and they were thinking $500. And I'm sorry, you can't get an ad in your newspaper for that. And other businesses don't blink an eye at it. But the fact of the matter is, I always have to quantify it by saying, we're going to produce the best stuff. We're going to make you look great, and you will, if you spend $5,000, my hope is that you will have all that money back, and you'll be making $100,000 with that video. And you have to quantify those costs. And so we're not really a podcast about how to be a millionaire or anything like that, but these are things I've learned over the years. And you mentioned the thing about asking customers things. You can kind of tell they're talking too fast, like me, and different things. And a buddy of mine, he was the GM at a radio TV network that I was at, and he was very good because he was radio. Radio guys always do a little better job with just saying things than TV guys because we can just throw a graphic up. But he used to always say at the end of the conversations, or we'd be talking about ideas and random thoughts, and he would always say, "Okay, just to clarify, we're going to do A, B, and C." And it's a great term. And it's like, sometimes when my brain works, I get those things. Like, I got to remember that, because that's a great way to wrap up a conversation. So oftentimes I'll talk with clients, they're creatives, and they're sitting back and they're like, la, 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 la. And I'm like, okay. We've talked about 8 things now. So just to clarify, we're going to do a 2-minute spot that's going to do this and do this. And what did I say I was going to charge you for this? And we go through all this. And it's been a very useful tool for me. Just so I know, okay, we're all on the same page when we get done, because as my wife will tell you, I get a little scatterbrained. I get off that phone call, somebody else calls me, and then I'm working on an edit thing, and then, what did I say I was going to do with those guys? And sometimes I take notes, and sometimes I can't read my notes. So,
and that's the same thing that we have to do when we're doing, especially problem solving in customer service. When someone just calls in and they want an order, you do your thing and you move on and you give them the information they need. But when there's been a problem and you're trying to resolve it, an order's been lost, freight has been misplaced, it's a weekend, it's a holiday, and God forbid there's an inventory issue on top of that, you have to clarify, this is what I can do. And I always emphasize to, again, in teaching and sharing customer services, don't focus on what you're not able to do. Just tell them what you can do.
That's good.
This is what I can do for you. I can do this. I can do this.
I can get you to a douchebag supplier if necessary.
I can get you to a douchebag supplier.
Absolutely.
Yes. We can get you to somebody. And that's the key is, what can you do? Because nobody wants to, I don't need the litany of what you can't do.
Right.
And I've done that again in my own encounters with customer service. I don't want you to tell me what you're not able to do, that you're not authorized to do this or not authorized, and don't start policy talking to me either. Yeah. Well, our policy states, I don't care what your policy states. So I tell people, don't read back our policy, to people. If they now, depends on the situation, but if somebody is in need of product or in need of something, then what is it that you are able to do? Don't focus on what you can't do.
The take home, my legendary mentor from 610 WTVN when I worked there, Bob Connors, would say, what was the take home today? The take home today from Angel was, be a hero. Be a hero with your customer service. Make your clients look good. And we will see you next week on Marketing, Media, and Cupcakes.
Connect with John and Angel via Facebook and Instagram and let us know your thoughts. Marketing, Media, and Cupcakes is a production of Ondo Media.